You're watching the Arsenal vodcast. Arsène Wenger believes that the experience of winning last season's Youth Cup could help the young gunners in this year's Carling Cup.
It makes a difference. It makes as well an impact when they go to a level higher up and they suddenly realize that it is not as it is at the youth level. But I think there are some winners in there, and they've shown that again tonight. They are ready to fight to win games, and from that age onwards now, it's more the mental side. How much do you want it? That makes a difference.
Kieran Gibbs is still just 19 but has now made 25 first-team appearances for Arsenal. So does he class himself as an experienced player in the Carling Cup squad?
One of the more experienced, yeah. I don't know about experience, but yeah, no, it's a bit weird being the one to try and get the people who it's their first time, you know, to get them to be calm and relax, because you remember when it was your first game in the Carling Cup and you was the same. So no, it was a bit weird doing that, but it was good as well, and they done really well.
These days, when you go to a game at Arsenal, you come out of the station just behind me and turn right and go towards Emirates Stadium. But not today. Today we're going to go that way for a trip down memory lane. It's more than 3 years since Highbury staged its last game back in May 2006, and the place has been completely transformed. The Highbury Square redevelopment is complete, and who better to show us around than a man who stood on the North Bank as a boy and went on to become an Arsenal legend, Charlie George. Charlie George, you're back inside the Marble Halls. Do you remember the first time you came here?
Oh, absolutely. I must have been, I would have been about 11 years of age when we used to train as a schoolboy. Obviously going to the dressing rooms to my left. Fantastic old stadium. It's a pity we had to move on really, but you know, obviously to get more people into the stadium, it's the only way forward. But great old stadium. Just behind me, the great Herbert Chapman, who actually set the ball rolling for the football club. Let's hope we can continue the progress that we've made over the years.
You get a real sense of history, don't you, when you walk into these marble halls?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, if you just come and you see the cannon on the floor and the steps up to the director's box, it's special. You know, the old box office over there where we used to have about 4 or 5 people in the box office, you know, now. How many we have in the box office now? It's completely changed, and they used to do everything, you know. You had to walk in, when there was a cup tie, you had to queue up, walk in, get your ticket, and then back out again. So times have changed now when it's all on the internet, you can book over. Oh, it's crazy.
Well, Charlie, we're now in the vicinity pretty much of the old home dressing room. It's changed a bit, the bath seems a bit smaller now.
Yeah, exactly. I think they, I don't know what's happened in here, but in the good old days when we used to play, I mean, when you think like after the game we had the big communal baths, you used to jump in the bath with a pork pie, cup of tea and a cigarette, eh? The good old days. Now you can't even, well, you're not allowed to smoke in the stadiums even. And if you were lucky, we used to get a bottle of light ale. We used to have a case of light ales in the old days, so times have changed very quickly, yeah.
Tell us about your pre-match routine back in the...
My pre-match routine, basically as a youngster, when I played here, I used to be physically sick before every game. I never used to eat anything and used to suffer with acid in my stomach. Once I was out on the pitch I was fine, but probably about 10 or 15 minutes before the game I'd have probably been being sick in the toilet, but then once we was out there I was okay.
Who were the big characters in that dressing room?
Well, obviously the skipper, Frank McClintock, probably the greatest skipper I've ever played for. Enthusiasm and will to win was unbelievable. We had a lot of characters. There was a lot of people were different. Peter Storey would just kick the ball against the wall. No one just let him get on with it. He just kept whacking the ball against the wall. Bob Wilson would be running around, jumping up and down. Most of the other guys would be doing a few stretches. Peter Simpson, who was a tremendous player and very unfortunate not to play for England, he'd have probably been in the toilet about 2:15 having a couple of fags reading the Daily Mirror, because that's what he always did. But John Radford would sit there and say much. Wouldn't say much, and Bob McNabb was quite vocal. Jules was, sort of Jules, strolled about a bit. No, we had a few characters, but everyone basically did their own thing before they sort of went out on the pitch.
You're overlooking the gardens now at Highbury Square. What do you make of that?
Yeah, it's absolutely fantastic, isn't it? And when you think that where we are now, the director's box, would this be the director's box? I would suppose we'd be looking out over the magnificent pitch, but the gardens are coming along now. I just think the whole project is absolutely amazing. It's you don't realise in 1955 I actually stood on the terraces on the South Bank, and now what we now 209. I'm actually standing here looking at the flats and the apartments and penthouses here. It's time changed very quickly, doesn't it? It's quite amazing how things change.
What makes it such a special place to be?
Oh, I think the history and the tradition, not only of the football club, but of the actual structure of the buildings. I mean, you look at the East and the West Stand, when they built these the East Stand was built in 1935, if I remember rightly. I mean, they were solid old buildings, weren't they? The best property to buy was in the 1930s, where it was solid, double bricks, not like now, the old breeze block inside the old single brick. It's just, you can still see Highbury for me. Once you're looking at the East and West Stands, I can still see Arsenal there, we still got the old red and white, the fascia's the same outside, so, that'll never change.
Well, Charlie, I just walked outside what used to be the tunnel. It seems a bit bigger now, is that true?
Yeah, it looks a bit bigger. It isn't actually any bigger, but it looks bigger. I think it's because the steps used to slant down. This is when you come out and you're in the tunnel, you hear the crowd, but when you actually get out here, and then my nerves used to just go. As soon as I stepped onto that pitch, I was fine. Obviously you'd run to the north stand, which we used to have a 5-minute little warm up and kick in. I was quite lucky because the crowd used to chant my name a hell of a lot. It was probably all my friends up there, but it was absolutely fantastic. Asked anyone that actually plays football or has played football, and they come out and they get, the crowd chanting their name. It's the biggest buzz in the world. There is no doubt about that. It's unbelievable.